Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I wanted to go over why women may act weird or strange around you. And before we get into the points as to why, there's a part of this video, the beginning of it, that I want to focus on something about how men and women perceive things differently and why this can be confusing for you. Because I feel like if I don't say this, the rest of this video won't make full sense. Women tend to be passive comparison to men. I think most people know that, but I don't think you recognize how passive women truly are. And there's a misconception to some extent that if a woman really likes you, she will chase you, she will initiate towards you, or she'll be very obvious with you. Maybe, but it's also a little bit of, it's not correct fully. And I'm going to explain the male version and maybe it will help you. The average man, at least from my understanding, they're not they're not totally excited about marriage or commitment. Maybe it's a nature thing, maybe it's biology, maybe it's a combination of things, but a normal man, if he's uncomfortable with commitment, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with him, right? It depends on how extreme it is, but most normal average men are not planning their wedding at like age 10. They're just not like that. Most of them are actually uncomfortable around the concept of getting married, and it's because it holds a lot of risks for men. But men like freedom. Men tend to like independence. Not all of you guys, but it's common. It's normal. And so women believe that if a man really likes you, some women, he's going to marry you in like a week. That's not true. There are plenty of good men who take their time and they eventually get married, and it's just because he's regular, right? A man that marries you in a week, he's odd. Maybe it's a good thing or a bad thing, but usually there's a I don't want to say mental problem because that's not the right word. There's a little bit of mentally instability that he may have. And similarly with women who are a little bit more forward or more direct or pushing certain boundaries, she also might be a little bit mentally unstable. And even though men believe, okay, if she really likes you, she'll initiate. You're trying to fill in that deficit, but you could get hurt because of that. Similarly, women who get married in like a week, a lot of times that man turns out to be abusive, turns out to be controlling. But she fell for that because in her mind, she believes if a man really likes you, he'll marry you. But that's not true. Men, they take their time. Most of them eventually will get married, but it's not common for him to do that. And there's a reason why. There's risks. And a man who cannot see those risks or doesn't care for those risks, there's usually another motive. And similarly, women who are more direct. And not all of them are like that. But the reason I bring that up is because you might think a woman is acting weird around you when actually she's interested, but she's just not initiating. And attraction does often make people behave a little bit different than their normal affect or presentation. Research in 2018 actually shows that people systematically underestimate how others like them after an interaction. And so this creates hesitation, awkwardness, and kind of like a cautious approach, like a mixed behavioral presentation. And all the research is in the description box, by the way, but you guys already know that. One of the strongest and most replicated findings that I saw on any weird behavior, I guess is the best way to put it, in early interactions, is that this research that we're talking about right now was observed in, like, it was a very lengthy study. On my notes, I didn't write how long it is, but you guys can look at it. But a lot of time what we saw is persisting over time throughout the research. A lot of people, when they like somebody, and more commonly with women, they may act uncomfortable or unsure because they assume you like them less than they like you. And so she's not sure, especially if you are not the type of person to initiate. She might automatically assume you don't like her because a lot of men are taught, or a lot of men do initiate. And so if you're not initiating, she thinks you don't like her. And so that's probably why she's acting weird. Another one is that you might be acting standoffish and she is having trouble reading you. So this research was 2025. It's newer. And we saw very similar replication to what I was talking about in 2018. However, this recent work actually confirms something that is kind of like a gap between okay, I'll put it like this. There's a perceived gap and an actual gap of how you like somebody versus how someone likes you. So some women and men, they perceive that the other person likes them less than they like the other person. That's that perceived gap. The actual gap tends to be smaller. And so the difference from the reality is that we can see that this reinforces awkward and inconsistent behaviors, especially if she feels like you strongly don't like her or you're behaving in a way that's standoffish. Not that you're doing it on purpose. I'm not saying that. But she can misread those social feedback, interaction, etc. And it's not true disinterest. It's her behavior based off something you might be doing without realizing it, and she's reading you wrong, which happens very, very frequent. In fact, I feel like most misconceptions can be sourced to some version like this. That's in the description box as well. The next one is that she's not interested and she doesn't want to be rude. As I'd mentioned before, a lot of women don't like being direct, and there's a couple reasons to this. And I'm going to try and explain this a little bit more. It is better, I feel, in most healthy, normal circumstances, that a woman is honest and says, I'm not interested. However, there are plenty of situations where a woman says that and then she ends up in a situation where, and I know you guys would never do this, which is why it's hard for you to believe this is real, but it is real, whether you want to believe it or not, where she signals that she's not interested and she says it directly, and she ends up she gets harassed or hurt. And so she might be scared of that if she's had those experiences. And so she might be not interested, but she's trying not to be rude or trying not to put herself in a position that she can be hurt. The next one is she's trying to figure you out or trying to read you. Now, this might not be because you're standoffish. It might be that she's not good at reading people. But in general, people take time to assess personality intentions, and women more particularly, like we had talked about earlier in the video, men have quite a lot to lose in marriage, at least in America, comparison to women, right? As we can see, women really want to get married. I don't know if you guys talk to many female friends. All my friends are female, and marriage is a topic that just comes up like a lot, which is fine. That's good. That's great. But men, the way men talk about marriage, it's funny. It's kind of like they talk, not all of you guys, but you guys talk about it like it's a disease or a plague. I think it's humorous, but I know not all of you are like that. It's so funny, the differences. But anyways, what I'm saying is women, they have more to lose when it comes to actually being vulnerable, because like I had mentioned, some women have experiences with being hurt. And I'm not saying men don't either. A lot of men have experiences of being hurt as well, but perhaps women are just more cautious because they are generally weaker, smaller, etc., and less likely to win in a physical altercation, for example. Not saying you would ever do that. However, she's assessing and trying to figure you out. And so sometimes she just needs time to figure out what she wants to do with this interaction between you guys. The next one is she might feel uncomfortable or unsure. It might be your tone. It might be something you said. It might be something that she heard about you. Maybe she heard that, I don't know, you've had a lot of girlfriends that you didn't treat right. Not saying you would do that, but maybe she's just uncomfortable or unsure about whatever that situation is. The next one is really annoying, but it does happen. And if I didn't tell you this, I wouldn't feel comfortable, even though I don't like this one at all. It does happen and women do this, but I want to be honest. Some women do this like really annoying thing where they try to act standoffish to get your attention. I forgot what it's called, but it was going around like 2 or 3 years ago on social media. I might get it wrong because I don't remember and I hated it. I shouldn't say hate, I disliked it. Black cat energy. Are you guys familiar with that term? Is it even that? Where like you have to act standoffish and disinterested to make him chase you? It's so silly and it's absolutely ridiculous. And it comes across quite immature. So if a woman is doing that, it's up to you to decide if you want her, but it sounds like she's insecure. But yes, some women do that. So if she's acting weird around you, she's probably trying to get your attention. The next one is maybe you said something hurtful, likely unintentional, and she's still trying to process it. Maybe you said something that made her feel bad, or she was trying to open up to you and you didn't really pick up those signs, and now she feels like you don't like her. And the last one is external factors, which is pretty common. It might be stress, it might be mood, it might be that time of the month, and I'm not trying to make it seem like women act like a completely different person during that time of the month, but it's very uncomfortable and it hurts, and it does definitely affect your mood. And that's speaking from my own experience. It's challenging, and it definitely can put a lot of barriers in the way you behave, etc. And so those external things you can't really control, nor will she outwardly tell you. And so these are some of the reasons that women act weird or odd around you. Like I had mentioned, the research is in the description box. I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.